constituents.
To you, can he win over some progressives, and should he even try?
I hardly think you can blame Donald Trump for the divisiveness in the country, for Pete's sake.
Good point.
But I mean, obviously he did. He won over, I don't know what you mean specifically by progressives, but obviously he won a lot of Democrats over. Democrats, the old Reagan Democrats. I mean, there was the big Stanley Greenberg. He's the big pollster for the Democratic Party. Went from Yale Law School, and he spends a lot of money and takes a lot of time. And he's been going to one county, Macomb County in Michigan, every 4 years, because that's like a microcosm of the Reagan voters. He's been polling them. This county voted twice for Obama and went for Trump. That was the big swing. That is what gave Trump Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan. I think those voters are pretty much unavailable to progressives as they're currently constituted. There was just a quote, maybe some of you saw this, I think it was, I don't know, in the New Yorker, but somebody was interviewing a Trump voter in Arizona and said, look, the reason I love Trump and I hated Hillary was they hated Trump for all the reason that they hate me. And that is how working class, middle class Americans are feeling right now. And I mean, it was the deplorable line from Hillary was only the most piercing example of that. So no, I think if Trump fulfills his promises, he will continue to get these Democrat votes. He might win over some progressives. I never understood why progressives were so anti-Trump. He's hardly religious right. I mean, he's been married 3 times to a model. You're worried about mandatory Bible readings with him? He's not Mr. Wall Street. He got no money from Wall Street. He's kind of secularist. You don't know what you're talking about if you're sneering at that. So why he should be so upsetting to the left, I think it's because he represents what they do hate and what it is I'm talking about. He represents the Walmart voter, and they know we can't attack the Walmart voter, but we can attack the billionaire who represents the Walmart voter.
I'm loving this audience. You guys are fun. Oh, wow. Okay, so Trump recently said that the reason why he has filled his cabinet with millionaires and billionaires is because he doesn't want poor people working for him in the White House. And so it's odd to me.
Would you want poor people working in the White House too? Who's he going to start to hire? Some idiots and morons and retards? Is that what he's going to do? What the hell are you talking about, Anna? You hired the best and the brightest. And the best and the brightest usually went to the big time schools. Now, whether or not, you take a look at their experience, a whole lot better than what the Brandon thing is going is, what? Hey, what type of high heels and dress do you wear? And by the way, you're a guy, right? But you're dressed in high heels and a dress with no bra on. You're perfect for Secretary of State. That's what the Brandon administration does. What's your experience? I have none. Oh, perfect. You work in this field? Never. Perfect. So if he was hiring millionaires or billionaires or whatever you want to say for cabinet positions or high-level positions, at least they had the experience in that field. Now, if they work out and they can do that, hey, some of them maybe do, some of them maybe don't.
That working class Americans would think that he would want to represent them or even thinks highly of them, when in reality, time and time again, he has not supported them. Another example was a story that we did years ago about how he believes golf should be reserved for the wealthy. That if you're from a higher class, socioeconomic status, golf is for you. But if you're poor, no golf for you, which is ridiculous. Like, who cares about golf? But it kind of gives you his mindset. But here's one thing that we can agree on. One of the reasons why Trump was able to flip voters is because he did campaign on something that I think the Democrats dropped the ball on, with the exception of Bernie Sanders. He talked about jobs, okay? Hillary didn't talk about jobs, at least didn't do so in a substantive way that was convincing and persuasive. He pretended like he was going to look out for people who had lost their factory jobs, people who had lost their jobs because the coal industry is no longer something that makes any sense in this country, right? So he's reaching across, he's reaching out to them and saying, I'm going to look out for you, I'm going to look out for you. But has he looked out for them? Why is he applying to have foreigners come into this country and work on his properties? If he cares about employing these poor people who have lost their jobs, why wouldn't he hire them? That's what I want to know. And so, look, talk is cheap. We know that talk is cheap. And we've seen cheap talk from Democrats and Republicans. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous to claim that Donald Trump is looking out for the best interests of poor Americans who have lost their jobs. If he really genuinely cared about that, then maybe he would practice what he preaches a little bit.
So I'm going to end this segment on that note right there. So on this part here, again, I think they both, came in across, but I would basically say that in terms of healthcare debate, I think Ann put forward some more points than Anna did in terms of there are solutions that could have been done, but neither party wanted to implement them because they're all in bed with the big time corporations, the health insurance and industry, and all of that. And as far as President Trump looking out for the little guy or whatever, at least he was the only candidate that spoke to the forgotten man and woman and said that he was going to try to make their life a little bit better. And we all know what he did for people's wages for the first time in decades. Wages rose across the board, across demographics, for every people, the highest employment rates for blacks, the highest employment rates for women, for Asians, for high school students, for Latinos, for Hispanics, for every group across there. The amount of money in terms of real wages that people were earning and keeping, in terms of the tax cuts that he had, where some families, up to $7,500 were given back. That's $7,500 in some cases. So I think the thing was somewhere between $2,500 to $7,500 came back to families because of the tax cuts. These are the things that they don't even talk about. So anyways, folks, that was part 3 of the debate between Ann Coulter and Anna Kasparian. We thank you for watching. Love doing these reaction videos. Let us know in your comments below who you think wins, loses. Was it a draw? Whose side are you on? You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.